Here today with Dirk Manning, famous comic book artist, inker, writer.
Writer. I can't even draw a crooked line.
So you don't do all the artwork in these?
No, actually, it's interesting. I work with different artists on every book I do.
Okay.
Because the artist, I really want to make sure the artist matches the style of the book, right?
Oh, nice.
If you look at something like Homestead here, the artist on Homestead, Wes Gardner, absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
Very different style than, say, Cthulhu Jr., which is Scoot McMahon.
Okay.
Scoot's perfect to do the all-ages horror book. He necessarily wouldn't do as well with a Native American werewolf western.
Gotcha.
And vice versa. I want to make sure that the art, to me, the art should match the project.
Okay, yeah, that certainly makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you specifically write in the horror genre, or do you do other things too?
I mainly do horror. Yeah, I'm a horror baby at heart. You know,
Okay.
I grew up watching The Twilight Zone and stuff like that. So
Stephen King and all that stuff, yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe, and then you get into like more speculative fiction like Harlan Ellison, Ray Bradbury and stuff. But to me, I love horror because a good horror story answers the question, what would you do if? I am, again, we'll go back to Homestead. This is one of my newer books. I am not afraid of werewolves.
Afraid of?
Werewolves.
Oh, okay.
I've lived 50 plus years. I've never come across a werewolf. I don't anticipate, that's not a challenge if any werewolves are watching to come, but to me, the story is not about the fear of the werewolf as much as it is, what would you do if a werewolf did show up, right? That's where the story, horror to me answers that question, what would you do if? And that's what I find fascinating.
I like that.
That's the story to me, and that's what draws me into horror.
That's great. Do you have a sense of humor with it too, or is it all very
the line between
dark?
Humor and horror is very thin. You know, it was
Yeah.
Horace Walpole once told that joke or made that statement. Tragedy is when I stub my toe. Comedy is when you fall down a manhole and die.
That's great.
Right? You know, it's all yeah. So yeah, but yeah. In fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I've been nominated for the Ringo Award, which is like one of the biggest awards in comic books, arguably like the second biggest, 4 times. Twice it's been for Best Humor Comic.
Really?
With both volumes I did of Haunted Highons, yeah. So it's funny that the horror guy has been nominated 2 times for having one of the best humor comics of the year.
Okay, that's good. Do you do any like non-graphic novels, like long books with multiple hundreds of pages, like?
At the end of most of my graphic novels, I do prose stories as well. So, like for example, with Tales of Mystery, you got the full graphic novel, right? And then you get done at the end, and I will write multi-page prose stories as well.
Yes.
I like writing prose, and it's fun. But again, it's just a different way of telling a story. I love the comic book medium because Harvey Pekar said it best. Comics are words and pictures, and you can do anything with words and pictures, right? Prose is its own art form, and it's fun, and it's a neat challenge to do as well. But I just love the medium of graphic novels.
I can see what you're saying, because you're not using a lot of words to describe the background, what's going on.
Right.
You can actually see. You don't need as many words because you can see what's going on.
Absolutely.
Is that what
and then you get into the juxtaposition of it too, right? How you can overlay narration and words, and how you can. There's just so many things you can do with this medium. It's fascinating to me. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. That puts a whole new thing on, can think of this as serious literature that people sometimes discount,
Well, yeah, people a lot of times have the impression, comics, that's kid stuff. And it's like, I have one all-ages book on my table.
Yeah.
You look at the history of comic books, comics didn't necessarily stem from all-ages reading. But not only that, but from a neurological standpoint, comics are the only medium where you use the left and right side of your brain at the same time. Because you're processing images and words.
Visual and audio.
Right. You could make an argument for movies with subtitles, maybe, but comics are still images and words combined to tell a story. So it's actually a very advanced form of storytelling. If I could go back to the earliest storytelling seen in the caves, what was it? It was done with pictures. Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things that people say all the time, comics are kid stuff, and it's like, I get it, there are kids' comics out there. Comics are a great gateway to literacy for children, but it's also because you're using both parts of your brain at the same time to process the information, providing context clues, but you can go so much farther with it. You can really, the way you tell a story in comics is unlike the way you tell a story in any other medium.
Nice. And are you Michigan based?
Yeah, I grew up just south of Detroit. So yeah, so like I'm getting ready to start a 4-week tour right now. I'm here in Waterford, Michigan. Next weekend I'll be in just outside of Cleveland. Then I'll be in for HorrorCon. I'll be at New York Comicon for a week. Then I'll be at Baltimore for the Ringo Awards. So yeah, so like doing shows like this is nice. This is like familiar territory. But then I'm off all over the country again.
Okay. This is a small show, obviously. It's the first time they've had it here, I believe. And
yeah. Fantasticon does really great stuff. You know, they do the Fantasticon. So they do a show which is really good. He has Port Huron. He's done Fort Wayne. Shows this size are important. This is a small to mid-sized show. It's a first-year show. It's not a New York Comic-Con where you're going to get 250,000 people.
Right.
But it's not intended to be. New York Comic-Con sells out instantly, and it's super expensive to go to New York. I'm paying, 3 times what I pay to live where I live, monthly to be in a hotel. That's not viable for everyone.
It's not.
You need shows that you can drive to in an hour or take a day trip to a convention. These are a vital part of the comic book industry and ecosystem. That's why I value so much what Fantasticon brings to the table. This is a family-friendly show. You can bring your kids, come and have a nice time. You can bring your friend who's never done anything with comic books. You can bring someone who's never read comics and just meet a couple cool celebrities, meet some creators, and leave with something new. And some great memories.
Yeah, absolutely. My son and some of his friends go to Rosemont just about every year.
Yep.
They spend a boatload of money going there by the time you drive there and get the hotels and that. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, the old Wizard World Chicago, now it's Fan Expo. Yeah, exactly. But this is a good entry point, and we need conventions like this, and that's why some people say, well, you're doing a smaller show, but then you're doing like a New York Comic-Con or something. Well, yeah, they all have their place. Right, the 4 shows I'm doing these next 4 weeks are wildly different shows, but we want that. We don't want a gentrification of the Comic-Con scene. We want a diversity. We want different access points and to meet different people. It'd be harder for you and I to have this conversation in New York Comic-Con, right? Because there's like 500,000 people and things like that. We have to like block out time.
That's true. I appreciate that. Everybody I've talked to today has been really friendly and open for the most part.
Right on, man. Yeah, this is again, we're all here for the same reason. We love comics, we love pop culture. This is it's really a privilege to have these opportunities, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Okay, I appreciate that too. Have you ever done Grand Rapids Comic-Con?
Oh, absolutely. I've been in Grand Rapids for years. Yeah,
okay, I've been there a few times. I was there like 8 years ago when it was a lot smaller than it is now, when they just moved into Los.
The team that runs Grand Rapids Comic-Con, Mark and his team are one of the best teams in the industry. Love doing that show so much. I do that show every year. That's always a good convention for me to close up my convention circuit on. After you do Grand Rapids in November, it's like...
Are you going to be there this year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll be there for sure. I'll be there I'm one of the comic creator guests at Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be there as well.
But that's busier. I probably won't get to talk to you there too much. But
well, hopefully we can at least say hi.
Yes. I really appreciate the interview today.
My pleasure.
If you don't
Thank
mind.
you, sir. Appreciate you.